This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Good morning. Welcome to Business, Equity, and Opportunities. I'm Scott Sander. At some point, you've likely at least entertained the idea of starting your own business. Maybe you're a chef who dreams of running your own restaurant, or you're an office worker who wants to be your own boss. If so, then this show is for you. We bring stories of people who've gone through the process and launched their careers. We get advice from business professionals who can help you navigate through the process. We visit successful entrepreneurs to learn the keys to their success, and we examine the importance of diversity and equity on the theory that successful, diverse businesses make successful and diverse communities. Each week we tackle 7 topics designed to offer tips on getting your business started, accessing necessary capital, doing the numbers with accounting and bookkeeping, running your business day to day, and a look at timely events in this week in business. And we wrap up with a success story. Catch us every Sunday morning on Wish TV or live stream us on wishtv.com. You can also see and share all of our content on demand anytime at BEOshow.com. Need more? Listen and subscribe to the BE&O podcast and sign up for our newsletter. We update it every Tuesday. And if you'd like to be part of our show or have some topics we should know about, email us at beo@wishtv.com. Let's get to it. Coming up on today's Business, Equity, and Opportunities, we discuss the importance of a diverse supply chain with J.P. Morgan Chase. Nelson Spade is back talking tech, this time QR codes. And we drop by a barbershop with attitude for a trim and some tips in our industry focus. We get started today with a special salute to Indiana entrepreneurs, which is timely because Global Entrepreneurship Week begins tomorrow. This week, the Indiana Economic Development Commission is launching its Entrepreneurship Initiative that includes a publication featuring success stories from across the state, along with a digital support portal.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Getting started.
Julie Heath is the Vice President for Entrepreneurship Ecosystems at the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. It's a position created by the Secretary of Commerce as part of the state's commitment to entrepreneurship. Heath is focused on removing barriers.
We are celebrating Global Entrepreneurship Week, which is coming up this week, by launching our Indiana Entrepreneurship Initiative. Indiana Entrepreneurship is both a publication, about 100 stories that we're telling about entrepreneurs around the state, and also a digital front door website that will provide access to resources around the state. Entrepreneurship in Indiana is important to showcase because it is a powerhouse for economic health and community well-being. Data shows that young companies, new and young companies, not only are the driver of job growth, but also productivity and output. So what that means for communities is entrepreneurship and supporting entrepreneurs is a way for communities to create their own economic future. Entrepreneurship, or the process of launching a new company or commercializing innovation, is the most recent area of economic development. Historically, economic development has been about industrial recruitment, attracting companies, or about clusters, such as an industry cluster. This idea of creating the conditions for people to start companies is pretty new. We started seeing this movement in the 2010s, and it's backed up by brand new data that shows the power of young companies. So part of that is the net new jobs, is the productivity growth, but then there's also neighborhood level data where just one new successful company can raise the median household income of all the neighboring households. So it's a big lever for us to pull in terms of economic health and community well-being. So Indiana is an excellent place to launch a company. Our entrepreneurs have all kinds of tailwinds that we are just realizing now. We've got a phenomenal small business development center, we have a venture tax credit, we have a state-supported venture development organization, top-notch universities with entrepreneurship programs, and a stellar high school entrepreneurship program. That, in combination with our serial entrepreneurs, the legacy entrepreneurs who are paying it forward and reinvesting in the next generation, make for incredible tailwinds. This is a phenomenal place to launch a company. When we started this work about 12 months ago, we did some benchmarking. We didn't just want to benchmark against neighboring states. We wanted to benchmark against the whole globe. And what we found is that we are really strong culturally in helping each other, there's this metric called local connectedness. Simply put, it's how many hours do entrepreneurs get help from others, from investors, experts, community members, and each other. We are competitive globally with the top ecosystems in the world in terms of helping each other. It's Hoosier hospitality applied to entrepreneurship. I love local communities flourishing. I love setting the conditions for neighborhoods to be their best selves. And now that we know that economic health is so closely tied to community health, and we know that entrepreneurship is a really powerful driver of economic health, I want to create the conditions for anyone in Indiana to be able to start a company. That's why I get up in the morning. We are defining entrepreneurship as all young companies and anyone who wants to start a company. So it doesn't matter what the business model is, it doesn't matter what industry it's in, it's anyone who is creating value where there was no value before. It's about commercializing innovation, it's about starting a company. So if you are starting a company, we consider you an entrepreneur. So this publication, Entrepreneurship Indiana 2022, tells 100 stories. Stories of entrepreneurs. These are entrepreneurs who are starting companies in every industry. So it doesn't matter to us whether it's a semiconductor company that is starting up, a battery innovation company, a bakery, a restaurant, or anything in between. The data shows that young companies are economic powerhouses. So we are trying to celebrate these stories regardless of what type of business and what industry.
If you'd like more information about getting started or any of today's topics, visit our website, beoshow.com. Remember, if you have any questions or you'd like to be part of our show, send us an email, beo@wishtv.com. We always like to hear from you. When we come back, if you need access to capital, we talk with a banking expert about a diverse grant program. You're watching Business Equity and Opportunities, and we'll be right back.
Getting Started, made possible by the Indiana Economic Development Corporation.
Welcome back to Business Equity and Opportunities. J.P. Morgan Chase recently launched a diversified grant initiative aimed at bridging a common financial gap for minority businesses. Today we find out how that program's going.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities, access to capital.
Today we have an opportunity on Business Equity and Opportunities to talk a little bit more about a program that we've been watching very closely. It is largely funded by J.P. Morgan Chase with some other partners that are involved in it as well. It's called the Diverse Supplier Grant Initiative Program. It's a great way for small businesses that are growing and about ready to do business with the big folks to really get in there. Ted Archer knows all about it with J.P. Morgan Chase. Ted, thanks for being on the line with us today. What is it in your view? How does J.P. Morgan view this program?
Thank you for having me. And JP Morgan Chase is really excited to launch our Diverse Supplier Grant Initiative in partnership with one of our closest partners in Local Initiative Support Corporation. The purpose of the grant initiative is really to put in place an innovative and alternative funding resource to help diverse suppliers who are near corporate ready and have a contract that they can access. But they have trouble because there are a number of barriers to entry and there are a number of areas where they could use additional support. Some of those barriers have historically been things like access to bonding, insurance, and in our case, as a large regulated financial institution, it's cyber readiness. And so we've been hard at work uncovering and interacting and engaging our diverse suppliers to understand what some of those specific barriers are, and those are the things that we came up with. And what this grant initiative is intended to do is really take a close look at those barriers and then work with Local Initiative Support Corporation to put in place specific funding that can help them address some of those barriers. So while we think those funding opportunities are going to address those specific barriers that are in place, we also understand that the funding is really going to help those diverse suppliers not only identify what those issues are, but really mitigate them. So when it comes to accessing the right level of insurance or bonding, or really investing in the kinds of protocols and back office supports that you need to become corporate ready, this innovative financing opportunity is really going to help them do that.
So talk a little bit about JP Morgan Chase's inspiration for this. I mean, there are an awful lot of ways that you guys are tackling diversity issues, to be sure, and you know them better than anybody in your role at the company. But how does this sort of fit into that overall strategy? What do you want it to accomplish?
JP Morgan Chase has had a diverse supplier program for over 28 years. And over the course of those 28 years, we really learned quite a bit about what are some of the pieces that are really important for us to invest more in, but also how everything sort of fits together when we're aiming at facilitating the growth and development of diverse businesses to be part of our supply chain, and also how it is that we leverage our entire supply chain to really make an impact on promoting equity and inclusion, all with the explicit interest in ensuring that we can drive economic opportunity in the multitude of communities that we operate in. And there are really three strategies at play for us. One is how we spend with our diverse business partners directly. The other is how we're leveraging maybe some of our largest diverse suppliers and our largest suppliers in general to promote equity and inclusion across their supply chains. And then ultimately, it's how it is that we're developing the capacity and the capabilities of the suppliers that we have in our supply chain. And this diverse supplier grant initiative does just that. It identifies a really important need that many diverse suppliers have. And it also helps us come together with other corporate partners to create some of the solutions that we think are industry solutions for an industry problem. So we're really excited about it. We think that it's the beginning of a really important and strategic journey for us. And we know that it's going to result in not only a stronger supply chain for JP Morgan Chase, but stronger communities as a result of these companies who are building their capabilities and growing with us and others over time.
In relation to, say, the start line, the finish line, where do you think this is? What are your visions in terms of years and now and to come?
So I think ultimately, if we lower the barriers to entry, if we can level the playing field, what we'll see for our supply chain and for the diverse suppliers that are growing within it is their own growth and scale. We'll see them grow in jobs and revenue. We'll see those local communities that rely so much on those diverse businesses become stronger as well. And so this is a journey that we're really excited about. We think we are at the early stages of what is to come, and it's really going to take a community of partners and an industry type response to help us advance this over the long haul.
It's going to be fun to watch. Ted Archer, thank you.
Thank you.
If you'd like more information about the Diverse Supplier Grant Initiative as you try to access capital, visit us online at BE&O Up next in This Week in Business, our friend Nelson Spade has another digital download. This time we talk QR codes. That and more when Business Equity and Opportunities returns.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. This Week in Business.
If it seems like QR codes are everywhere, well, they are. On screen in newscasts, in products at the store, in the magazines you read, even on the nose of one of the Indy cars that raced around the track this year at the Speedway. The question is, are they right for your business? And if so, how? Nelson Spade has some thoughts on that. General Manager of Circulus Digital Media, Wish TV's full-service digital agency and sister company. Thanks for being with us as always.
Thanks for having me, Scott. Appreciate it.
Great contributor over the course of Business Equity and Opportunity so far. QR codes are really fascinating, though, and for many reasons. How common are they at this point, this sort of like mid-post-pandemic point we're at?
So mid-post-pandemic is a good way to bring that up. It really was accelerated by contactless payment in the heart of COVID. Mm-hmm. QR codes are not new by any stretch of the imagination. They were invented quite some time ago, but as a resurgence, as a factor of COVID really got them going. And to this point, 2022, coming off the pandemic, nearly half of all Americans are active QR code users. Mid 40 percentile range. The interesting piece, though, for business owners is it's growing 10% a year for the foreseeable future. So it's a growing use. A big piece of that is that it's no longer a technical issue to stifle growth. It's really getting people to understand how to use their phone. You think about your phone on your person.
Right.
Most, if not all, smartphones, the camera is now a full-blown QR reader. So that's really fueling that growth.
That's a huge part of it too,
Yep.
once people just instantaneously can use it. There are still, though, no rules on how people are using it, though there clearly seem to be some, I guess we'd call them best practices, some things that do tend to work. What are some of the things people need to know about?
You're right, there's not technically a law-abiding rules for QR codes, but some best practices. What we've been seeing most with our clients and regional clients is the use in mediums where typically there's not much of a trackable expectation.
Okay.
So they're adapting the fact that in its essence, a QR code is a trackable touch point. So how can you utilize that in your day-to-day marketing? You mentioned the IndyCar, being on IndyCar. That was quite different, right? I know you mentioned that you're a big track guy. Really cool case study. PayPal did a big rollout of a QR code process for their merchants, so that if I'm in a store, I can use the QR code to pay that business owner via my PayPal account, but the touch point, the instigation point was the QR code. It was downloaded by businesses every minute.
So there was a hunger there from the businesses.
Hunger, and it served a purpose. That's a really interesting case study, and obviously a big scale. Locally, or maybe for our business owners watching today, think about it for simple touch points in your day-to-day action. Maybe it's as simple as something on your direct mail piece where tracking might be a bit more difficult. It might be something in your store for packaging information to learn more about a product. The opportunities really can be endless.
And when we talk about trackable, just so I understand it, because I think maybe some of my friends also may be trying to grasp all this, that's basically a way to say you've got an old school mailing. Trackable, the QR code means that's a way to find out if someone actually looked at that thing that you sent out.
Looked at that thing, and then did they engage with you with what you want that touch point to be in the QR code? For example, scan this code for the chance to win a XYZ.
Right.
Great opportunity for direct mail.
Okay, so that's something we've really never had in the past. It's always been like, well, I hope this works. Now it's almost evidence. No, this actually works. So what are the trends that you're watching? If there are still things that are not fully developed, what are some of the areas where you see some creative minds maybe making some cool things happen?
I'll give three key takeaways. One we kind of just talked about, and that is use in traditional media, print, television as well.
We put them up all the times in our newscast.
We use them quite a bit here at Wish TV, absolutely. And we've seen a lot of success with, for example, our weather app and downloading weather apps via QR codes. The second, though, is shoppable TV experiences. Whether that's via a commercial or maybe a show like a Lifestyle Live where we have product within that show. Rather than saying, please go to this place to buy this product, scan this QR code for a discount on Scott Sanders' matching tie from this morning, for example. Something, something that example. But also, dynamic QR codes are really starting to gain popularity. I'm frankly really excited about this. We're starting to play with them ourselves. What I mean by dynamic QR code is when you print a QR code, all those little dots are a unique code, essentially.
Okay.
On the back end, after, for example, you've printed a piece on your direct mail, you can actually reprogram that initial QR code for secondary functions. So for example, say a user scans a code, I can change what that does for the user the second time they scan it, because I know
they don't want to see the same thing over again.
And I know they scanned it the first time. So it helps them along the journey of a potential sale.
You can guide folks through all of this?
We can guide folks through all of it. Love to chat.
All of Nelson's contact information is always available on BEOshow.com. Nelson, thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
If you're looking to find business events or webinars that might be of interest, go to our website, check out our calendar of local events. If you have a business or community event you'd like to share, you'll find a way you can add it to our growing list. Happening this week, Global Entrepreneurship Week begins November 14th and runs through the 20th. Voting is now open for round 3 of the Indiana Chamber of Commerce's second annual Coolest Thing Made in Indiana tournament. The champion will be announced December 14th.
And if you're interested in a career in media, the Ball State University College of Communication, Information, and Media is holding its Career Fair November 17th from 10 to 2. For more information on these and other events, visit our website, beoshow.com.
If you want more business equity and opportunities, check out our podcast on the All Indiana Podcast Network. You can subscribe through the link on our website. It is beoshow.com. While you're there, sign up for the BE&O newsletter to stay up to date on the latest resources to help your small business. When we come back, so too will Shea be back. He'll join us to talk about managing your cash. And later, we take a little off the top in our industry focus. You're watching Business Equity and Opportunities, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Business Equity and Opportunities. Part of accounting and bookkeeping is managing your cash flow. It's also one of the reasons some find it so hard to get a new business off the ground.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities, accounting and bookkeeping.
Whether you're making a profit or at this point operating in the red, cash management is a critical part of your new venture, whatever that venture is. Shea is our top money manager here at Circle City Broadcasting and the chief financial officer of our work here. So we always appreciate his time and expertise. This is what he does for a living. Ty, good morning. As a concept, what's covered in cash management?
Good morning, Scott. Thank you for having me again. Cash management is really the lifeblood, especially of any new business. Managing your cash flow is a foremost concern and priority when you are looking at basically bringing money in and paying your obligations out the door.
Clearly, it's a lot more fun to manage inflow, the money coming into you. And if both of those are very critical, and obviously the book has to balance, is one or the other more difficult to deal with, the outflow or the inflow? Is one more important than the other?
That's a great question. So generally, in my experience, I found that the incoming is harder, right? And so because that is what, converting a sale into the process of a sale isn't completed until you have the money in hand, right? And especially the past couple of years, as we muddled through COVID and in this post-COVID era right now, collections has taken an even bigger priority as other companies. They are under their own cash management stresses, so they have perhaps attempted to lengthen or age payables out a little bit. And so it has to be a priority as a business manager to stay on top of that. And whether that's, more meetings with your partners who you're doing business with, collection calls, things of that nature. Not exactly a fun aspect of the business, but very important nonetheless, because when that money, unless that money comes in, you don't have the available cash to pay your vendors, right? And so you're fielding collection calls from them. They want to know where their money is. It all starts with converting that sale into cash.
A couple of things you've said today have sort of mirrored what we've talked about in the past and brought together kind of a current events question I have for you, which seems to fit the category if nothing else. We've been talking a lot about the Federal Reserve and its efforts to back off inflation, but that may be at a cost to the economy. Bottom line for the small business owner seems to be that money may be getting more expensive for the foreseeable future. Kind of help us understand how those moves can affect, say, for instance, when you go to the bank and say, hey, if you lend me this, I can make this happen for both of us, and how that may get a little bit more expensive in the weeks and months to come.
Sure, yeah. In the current environment, as interest rates are increasing, what that means is that cost of money is more expensive to you. So oftentimes, many loans are tied and have a variable interest rate. And so as interest rates are rising, your loan rates have a corresponding increase built into them as well. And so even though you may have locked in at a particular rate when you originally received your loan, in this current environment, you can see your interest rates go up by, a full % or two, depending, as the Fed is adjusting, kind of on the fly here. So that is obviously a concern as your debt service, which is the interest and principal
Sure.
that you are paying on your loan is increasing. You have to be mindful of that. And of course, that can be a crunch on your cash management.
Shea, a great perspective as always. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Scott.
If you need more on the topic of accounting and bookkeeping or any information about our segments today, visit our website, beoshow.com. You'll find more resources there to help you create your own successful small business. You'll also get access to all of our previous segments. And be sure to sign up for the BE&O newsletter to find out more about business resources in our community. Still to come, running your business. This week's segment focuses on project organization. Stay with us. We'll be right back with more business equity and opportunities. Welcome again to Business Equity and Opportunities. As you run your business day to day, how well you keep projects on time and on budget can make or break you.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities, running your business day to day.
Akila Darden is the president and founder of the Darden Group, an executive construction management company. She's an expert in project management and truly teaches a course in it.
Because I have the constructability knowledge and I can build stuff, I'm able to foresee and talk to and communicate to the subcontractors what the need is, what the scope of work is, so I can get the best talent that happens to be diverse. The best talent first, diversity second, and we do have diverse talent. So they had the goal of 100%. So in 45 days, that's what we did. You set a goal and you measure it and you make it happen. And then after we achieved 100% of the subcontractors building the project being diverse, we also wanted it to be built by the diverse workforce. So we also had goals there. Every week we would have between 35 and 75% of our workforce being diverse, with a concentration in Marion County and a concentration in 46218. So it's just setting the matrix, setting the goal, and march towards that, and figuring out the strategy and the implementation and execution prior to being on site with the construction. So that was Cook Medical, and because of the success of that project, I was able to work with IU Health to create the position of diversity and inclusion within design and construction. So they already had the goal set as well. The goal is 30% of the participation or design and construction spend to be with diverse contractors. And then they were like, oh, for the state. So it's not just the 5 downtown projects, which include the downtown hospital, the CUP, which is a central utility plant. We have the South Support building. We have the parking garage structure, and then we have Capitol View, which is a medical office building that you can see now with the parking garage. So that's the biggest thing. But we also have major hospital renovations and additions going on throughout the state. So the goal was 25% in the region for all the regions, and then 30% downtown. And then as I got here, they were like, oh, we want to have a diverse workforce goal. So currently downtown, we started rolling out at 17% of the workforce being people of color and 5% women. So with those goals, it was finding the matrices to be able to figure out how we're doing. So we are setting up a system where we do a survey and we ask questions, so we know how well we're doing, not only with diversity, but in the community and local. So so I would love to say that I created the goals, but what I've realized in my entire career, that when you do something well, they increase the impossibility. And I always like to do the impossible, because once I do it, then it's no longer impossible and people can do it. And then I give everyone the playbook so that they can do it, whether it's on IU Health Design Construction or if it's major projects within the city. It's not a secret, and we're trying to share it because the ultimate goal is to get jobs and change socioeconomics within the communities you're at. I always say that we have to build with and for the community and not to, because who's going to come to the building when you're done, right? We have to think about the end game. And I tell people, if you're talking about socioeconomics, you got to talk to the people first, find out what they want, how can they get involved and helped. And I always say you have to be intentional about diversity with equitable outcomes and not opportunities. So I would say the goals and the success is the outcome. We always want to bring diversity, equity, and inclusion to the table, but what is the matrix at the end? Did they grow? Did they finish first? And did they grow? And I must say that from the manufacturing facility, 100% of those subcontractors got future work, and some of them are working on the indie fresh market. So it's not just a one-off. We are going to continue with the momentum. Sustainability for any company, you have to learn the process, right? And there's always lessons learned. It's not 100% success, but what did you fail on and how can we do better? And it's the learning implementation. So when I get individuals to the table, how are you doing? How can I help you? This is what's coming up so that you can set the stage and plan and raise your hand if you have questions. So at IU Health Design and Construction, next year we're gonna start a curriculum. What do you need help with? What are your barriers? Finances, let's bring in the banks. Banks, talk to them, find out what they need. I have problems with estimating. Well, hey GC, you're working on our project, come in here and teach for an hour and a half how you're doing well with estimating to help someone else. So it's not just getting individuals to the table. Even if they don't have an opportunity, they're welcome to learn so they can get in the game. You know, what I hear all the time, we can't this and that. Well, let's bring people to the table who are interested and passionate about construction, and let's teach them what they need to know, and then the success will come. But you can't be successful if you don't have an opportunity. And you can't get an opportunity if you're not in the room. So let's get into the community and get the community to come to us, or actually we go into the community and tell the opportunities. And then from there, we give you enough time to prepare and to get to know who's buying what, and build a relationship. So it's relational, not transactional, so that you get the opportunity. Once you get the opportunity, let's grow the opportunity, but reach as you climb, bring someone else up. So I'm telling my diverse vendors, when you get opportunity, make sure you have diversity in the room with you.
If you'd like more information about diversity, equity, and inclusion in your workplace as you run it day to day, visit our website at beoshow.com. Up next, Industry Focus goes downtown for a shave and a haircut. Stay with us. In this week's Industry Focus, we visit a high-end downtown barbershop that survived opening during a pandemic and grooms its customers to become exquisite gentlemen.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Industry Focus.
Drew Irvin and Tyler Marzullo are co-owners of the XG Groom Room. XG stands for Extraordinary Gentleman. It's an example of the high-end trend in men's salons popping up all over the country.
We've been here for about 3 years now. We started in 2019 is when we obtained the building, but took us a little bit to do renovations and stuff like that. But we opened up actually March of 2020, right at the peak of COVID. So that was a little rocky, but we got the ball rolling about that summer, like June 2020, and we've been going uphill ever since. So I've always wanted to be a barber since I was a kid. My mom, she was in the beauty industry. She's actually a beautician. She cuts hair as well. So I've always kind of had my own set of clippers hanging around the house. So I've always, you know, used them to clean up my own hair and my friends. And about 2015, I was in a car accident and I was off work of my current job, and I just didn't want to go back. So
I was just trying to think of a way of like, what can I do to not go back to this career that I don't like? And I just, I said, well, I like cutting hair, so let's go for it. And here we are.
This is a full service men's salon, and it's a little bit different than a barbershop. We have different services that a traditional barbershop may not offer. Some of them do, but we make sure that our clients can come here and pretty much get everything done. From your hair, your nails, your skin, therapy we offer, barbers, we talk to them about everything. So, I mean, it's just one of those places where a man can come and let his guard down, and you can be here all day if you want to.
Yeah, well, there's two types of barbershops. I feel like you got your regular barbershop where people just want to come in and get a haircut and be on their way. And then you got your guys who actually, want a high-end experience. And that's one of the main things, that we knew would make us successful in this industry, is because we knew that, there was guys out there that didn't just want a haircut. They wanted a better experience. So we just put that into our vision, and I think that's what really sets us apart from other barbershops.
It's not so much that we deserve it, more so than it's necessary for a man to look the part. Your image is important. If you work for yourself, or if you are a man of high status, then you are going to, if you got a nice pair of shoes, you need a nice haircut. And that's just the bottom line. These days, with social media and different platforms being more superficial, and people just being just paying attention more to the way they look, the men's hair care field has just skyrocketed, and it's going to continue to go up. The growth of men's grooming, so at first, yeah, it did just start with a haircut, but now you got guys getting teeth whitening, facials, they get manicures, pedicures, all kind of different stuff. Like I said, they just want to look the part, and they want to be the best version of themselves. And then, some married guys, they just want a reason to get out of the house, right? So as long as they can be here all day and make an excuse like, hey, I got the works today, huh? Like I was gone for 3 hours, so they like to come in here and kind of just parlay and kick it and talk. Most of my clients come about every week. Some people come like once every 2 weeks, but they come just to be a part of the atmosphere, the clientele,
The vibe in here, the conversation, the connections, I would say is one of the biggest things. We cut a lot of high-end, like I said, high-end people, business owners, Colts players, big-time photographers, models. So for instance, I'm cutting a model in my chair and Drew's cutting a photographer. They end up, talking, and that's another reason that we do have the lounge back there. Is just a good way for our clients to network with each other.
For men's hair care and skincare products, that is something that in the past wasn't really tapped into. I know you had your aftershaves and your shaving cream, and that was about it. But now you've got waxing, you've got, like the beard wax that they use to curl a mustache up, like all kind of different stuff that guys use to smell good, look good. You got your beard oil, you got your, guys, some people are really into the way their hair looks and lays and feels. It's not just about how it looks, it's about how it feels too, right? So, there's a lot of different variations, different products that you can use and that we offer here at XG. For our clientele, because we have a very diverse clientele, so we have to keep a big range of products on stock at all times. One of my favorite football players of all time, Deion Sanders, he said, let me see if I get this right. If you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you play good. If you play good, you get paid good. And that's all that goes through life. I mean, it's all about how you look and how you feel in the morning. A lot of times if somebody's having a bad day, a haircut can change their life. Change their day. It can change their life too, but it can make or break you getting that job. It can make or break you, going on that date with that girl that you really like or whatever, and that can really do something for a man's self-esteem. So how you look is very important. The future looks like maybe a second location here in Indianapolis. I feel like we have a big gravitational pull from the whole city since we are downtown. But if not, somewhere in a surrounding city, Cincinnati, Louisville, Chicago, or something like that.
If you want more information about XG Groom Room or to get a haircut, go to our website, beoshow.com. Learn more about that industry. Ever needed to hire someone in a hurry? Watch today's success story coming up next. Stay with us.
Grow your business with Wish TV's featured business directory. For less than $200 a month, be one of the limited businesses in 30 different categories, benefiting from one of the top visited websites in Indiana and Indiana's only statewide news station. Space is limited. Contact us today.
Welcome back to Business Equity and Opportunities. Time for the success story of the day. It's about an entrepreneurial success of two brothers who are winning awards and accolades for their impressively tech-savvy business, Qualify.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities Success Story.
Darian and Devin Michael are co-founders of Qualify, an Indianapolis-based startup that recently landed $2.5 million in seed financing. These brothers are part of the IEDC storytelling campaign during Global Entrepreneurship Week.
So Qualify is a phone interview platform for high volume recruiting. So essentially, if you think about places like hospitals and call centers and manufacturing where they hire many frontline workers, a lot of hourly employees, we usually power their phone interview step, which is one of the most common steps in all of hiring, where you're having to deal with a ton of people at the top of the funnel and whittle it down to those that you want to move forward to an in-person interview. And so we help them automate that step so that they're not stuck in the weeds, and so that candidates get a faster hiring experience with employers. For me personally, it started with a food truck in college. So I started a food truck with one of my co-founders now at Qualify when we were in college, and we did it for a few years. Didn't know what we were doing, and just kind of building a muscle around entrepreneurship. We saw a need in our city, which was Terre Haute, Indiana at the time, and we filled it. So it was just a need, and we filled it, and that kind of gave us this mindset of like, okay, we can't do anything, but we can do a lot of things that we don't think we could do at first. And so during that time, we actually stumbled upon this idea from my brother, my other co-founder now, about Qualify, and we jumped right in. So because we'd been able to start the first one, our muscle was built to be able to start the second one, no matter what that second one was. And so the path has really been all about building this muscle around entrepreneurship, being willing to take risk, and just seeing those risks pay off as we continue to be disciplined to take the steps forward, essentially. For brand new entrepreneurs, I would say the pitfall that I see them typically run into is the idea. So a lot of people get stuck in this like, I have this idea, or I don't have an idea. And in both cases, it's always start something anyway. Start something smaller than you think, right? Because like I said, with the food truck, it was way different than a software company. But because I did the food truck, I was way more ready to do the software company. And so what I tell people is like, just start anything right now. Feel the muscles of making something work and selling something successfully to someone, right? So really it's like get out of the idea phase as fast as humanly possible. Maybe stay there for like a week and then start telling people about your idea, because once you tell people about it, it becomes more of a reality, especially if they're interested in it. It's like you can't fail them at this point. You have to actually come out with it. So start talking about it before you're ready and get out of the idea phase as fast as possible. I think that's probably one of the best parts about the Indiana ecosystem is like, when I started in Terre Haute, it was a support system that wanted you to win. And then when I moved here to Indianapolis, back home, it's the same thing, right? So you have people that want to see you win, other startups that want to see you win. So we're all rooting for each other. Whereas I don't think you can say that about everywhere. Like on the coast, it's pretty competitive. You have people that are kind of cutthroat by nature, and they have to be at sometimes. But here in Indiana, it's like everyone is cheering for everyone. And so you have an ecosystem that's been thriving, I would say, because of some major players, but it's all about support, and it's kind of has those Indiana values ingrained in it. So like, yes, are we pushing as fast as we can and trying to get as far as we possibly can as a company, absolutely. But when we see other companies that are what we would call like our friend companies, which is almost everyone, when we see them doing well, like we take a moment to stop and like give them praise as well. And that's what it's all about. Like everyone wants to see everyone win, and everyone that's building a company in Indiana seems to be solving an actual problem. We're not just out here trying to have a quick cash grab. It's like this is a real problem, and Indiana is about solving problems. I have this eternal struggle, right? So this is like advice I'd give to other people is like, you have to focus in on what you're doing until the job is done, right? And so when I do, because naturally an entrepreneur is always like ticking, when I do, I kind of have to force myself to take a step back and say like, let's finish the job. So it's another one of the lessons I've learned is just like finish what you start. But yeah, I'm always ticking on like different ideas and different things to try to improve in the world. I think it's just a joy. I think right now I'm in this moment of like appreciation. I was telling you, like, this was nothing. Like this was a from scratch thing. And so I had this kind of this mindset around like, if we got no further, I'm grateful for what we've done. We're gonna get further and we're gonna continue to push, but like, this literally was nothing. And now we're talking to major employers across the country. So for me, I'm just kind of grateful that this was something that we took the leap and actually built. So for me, it's about always having a joy around that and having a grateful mindset around it, but continuing to try to be excellent in what we do, and thankful for my team as well that's really pushing the ship and helping us go where we're trying to go.
Time is drawing short on business equity and opportunities for this week. Thanks to all of our contributors. You can find more information about all of them on our website, beoshow.com. There we have every segment from every show we've done, all designed to speak to the people behind business startups, those who are already operating a small business, and anyone looking to jumpstart a new career. Please join us again next Sunday morning at 10 o'clock here on Wish TV. You can also stream the show live on wishtv.com. For even more, listen and subscribe to our BE&O podcast. It's part of the All Indiana Podcast Network. And sign up for our Business Equity and Opportunities newsletter to get even more valuable and always updating information. If you have questions or you'd like to be part of our show, shoot us an email, beo@wishtv.com. We'd love to hear from you. If your business or organization has an upcoming event that you'd like us to feature, send us the information. We'll see what we can do. For best results, be sure to get it to us at least 3 weeks ahead of time. I'm Scott Sander. Thanks for watching, and keep it here. Countdown to kickoff is next.